So here we are looking for, we want a unique URL, sorry, we want the same URL here for all the services, because all the services they provide a similar functionality here. All the services basically they provide a similar functionality. Am I right? They provide a similar functionality. So now I want to make these services transparent to the users, the clients or users who wants to access the service. I want to make this services transparent to those users. So that you see, irrespective of which REST service they want to access, irrespective of which service they want to access here, I want to use the same URL. Irrespective of any service, I want to use the same URL here. That is what I want to do. Yes. Okay. So this is where the concept of sub-resource URLs comes into the picture. This is where the concept of sub-resource URLs comes into the picture. Yes. Okay. So let's see sub-resources here. So first of all, what is a sub-resource? I was talking about a sub-resource in the last class. When I say sub-resource, what does that mean? What is a sub-resource? Yes. A sub-resource. So what is the difference between a root resource class and a sub-resource class? We have a root resource class and we have a root resource class and we have a sub-resource class. So what is the difference between root resource class and a sub-resource class? Yes.
Root resource is with that add path in annotation, and the sub resource is without that annotation.
Very good. Exactly. Great. That's right. Good. So basically, you will find that here for a root resource class, you won't find any, for root resource class, you'll have this path annotation. It is configured with path annotation. So the root resource classes are configured with path annotation here. You see at the rate path. Whereas in case of sub-resource class, when you talk about a sub-resource class, you'll find that you won't have a path annotation. Sub-resource classes are those classes which are not annotated with path, but you will find that in the sub-resource class, you got methods which are annotated with path or HTTP method designators. Yes. So let me just give you some notes on this. A root resource class is annotated with @path annotation. It is annotated with @path annotation. Now, you'll find that a root resource class contains methods annotated with either paths or HTTP method designators or both. Either path or HTTP method designators or both, I can say. Yes. So when I say HTTP method designators, what are they? HTTP method designators means, yes, get, yes, @get, @post, @post, @get. So these are method designators. @delete, @put. We have four method designators actually. Okay. Yes. Fine. So now when we talk about a sub-resource class, I can say that a sub-resource class is not a class, sorry, a sub-resource class here is a class or is not annotated with @path annotation. But you will find that here a sub-resource class contains methods annotated with either @path or method designators or both. Yes, you'll find them. Okay, you'll find that a sub-resource class, it contains methods annotated with either path or HTTP method designators or both, but they are not annotated with path annotation. You'll find that they're not annotated with path annotation, I can say. Yes. Okay. Yes. Fine. Now, in our case, we have to do this. We need in our requirement for our requirement, we need to define this REST services for each country customers as sub resources itself. So we don't want a separate URL for each resource class, right? So that's the reason why we'll be using this sub resource classes. I'll show you. So I have some code here. Okay, else let me just define it here itself. Um, I'll do this. I will define a class called as customer. So let's say this customer class, it represents the customers which we are talking about. The customer class basically, it represents the customer object which we are talking about. Okay, private int ID, name, importance, say email. So we'll add getters and setters. You see, this customer class objects, they're going to hold the data, let's say. Okay, they'll hold the data. Yes. You know, next thing, I will define an interface which will define the contract for our sub-resource classes or for our REST services, if we can say. We'll define an interface which defines the contract here. What is it? Let's say iCustomer service. I'm defining an interface here. Okay, yes. So in this interface now, we'll add a method which all our services have to implement here. Okay, yes. Fetch customer. Let's say it takes a customer ID and returns that customer details. So this is the contract for our REST services. Okay. Now let's define a resource class here. Let's say US customer service. So which deals with US customer details. Okay. Now I'll make this class implements that interface, iCustomer service. Here we need to override that method, fetch customer details. As of now, see, I'll simply take that customer ID as input and will return that customer object with the details, with some details. Let me add a parameterized constructor here. for quick initialization. I'll use that parameterized constructor. See, that ID will be passed on. I'll also print a message. US customer service, fetch customer method. Okay. Yes. So now you know what? As of now, this is just a simple Java class, a normal Java class, right? I want to make it error service. I want to make it error service here. So what to do? I don't want to make it a root resource class. Okay. So I want a sub resource class here. So we won't annotate it with path annotation. We won't annotate this class with path annotation. Instead, just we'll annotate this method here. So what is the method designator we have to use? Can you people tell me? Yeah. What is the annotation? What is
Get.
get? Yes. The HTTP method designator. So which we are supposed to use here is get. Yes, that's right. So at the rate get. Why we are using method designator get? Because you see this method, it is the nature of the operation which it performs here is read operation, right? It performs a read operation here. Yes, it performs a read operation. That is what it does. Okay. Next, this method, you see, it takes a parameter, and I would like to configure this method parameter so, as a path parameter, let's say. Okay. So just do this at the rate path param ID, then we'll configure a path here at the rate path. So we want, whenever this method is called, we want this path parameter to be passed here. You see, slash ID. That's it. So how will you access this method? This REST resource method. How will you access it? Yes, how will you access this method? Is it possible? Is there any chance to access this method? Yes. What do we need to access this method? Previously, how did we access this resource methods here? How did we access the rest resource methods? Yes, using the URLs, right? Using the URLs, we do that. But actually, as of now, for this method, for this class, for this root resource class, we didn't configure any URL, right? We didn't configure any URL. There is no URL for this method. There is no URL for this method here. Yes. Okay. There is no URL. Then how will you access this services? We'll see. First of all, what we'll do is here, we are going to define similar services for other country customers also. Let's say for a US customer, sorry, for UK customers, you see, I'll define a class. Okay, let's do that. UK customers service. So let's say this service here, it is responsible for providing the details about the UK customers. Okay, yes. We will annotate this method with get, and we'll register the path parameter here, id, path. That's it. Okay. So you see, even this class is a sub-resource class here. Have you noticed it? Even this class is also a sub-resource class. Similarly, I will define another class here. Let me define this class, Indian, for Indian customers. We have a service, let's say. I'll also make this class implement set interface, iCustomer service. We'll override that method, fetch customer. Now here, let me just add this form. Not adding DB interactions. So we did a lot of DB interactions earlier. I will leave it to you people. Okay. Yes. So Indian customers service now. Just use this, register this parameter as a path parameter, and here annotate this method with get as well as configure a path to take that path parameter /id. That's it. Now we have three different services, but one thing, they don't have a URL. Why we didn't configure a URL? Why we didn't make them a root resource class here? Because we want a uniform URL for all these services. We don't want a separate URL for all these services. We don't want a separate URL for all the services, because we want a uniform URL. Here we didn't configure the URL for each REST service. Okay, now the question is, now we have these three services. Now the question is how to access the services. Anyone got any idea? That will be the big question now, right? How to access the services. So what to do? You got the question right. So I mean, what is our requirement? I hope everyone got it. So this is where a sub-resource locator comes into the picture. This is where sub-resource locator comes into the picture. So what is the sub-resource locator here? Sub-resource locator, I can say that is also a root resource class It's a root resource class itself, which is used to provide an appropriate sub-resource class reference to the to handle a client's request. A sub-resource locator is also a root resource class, which is used to provide an appropriate sub-resource class reference to handle a client's request. So, in other words, you can call it as a sub-resource provider. Sub-resource locator, what it does, it provides sub-resource sub-resource locator provides sub-resource reference here. Okay, it returns a sub-resource reference. That is what it does. Okay, so let's define this sub-resource locator. Okay, sub-resource locator is also a sub-resource class. Sorry, it's a root resource class itself. Okay, so I will define a class called as a customer sub-resource locator. You can give any name you wish. You see, now I will annotate this class with path annotation. Okay, sorry, I'll annotate this class with path annotation. So it's a root resource class now, and you will have a URL for it. It's a customer service. This is the URL. Next, in this class, we will define a method. So which is responsible for providing that sub-resource class URL here. It is responsible for providing sub-resource class located here. Yes, sub-resource class reference. So I will call this. See what it returns? It should return a sub-resource object reference. That means what should be the return type of this method here? Can you people tell me? What should be the return type of this method?
Customer.
Customer, no. So what did I say? This is a sub-resource locator. So what is the responsibility of the sub-resource locator here? Yes,
It will return as sub-resource.
it should return a sub-resource reference. The return type of that method should be always a sub-resource reference here. Okay. So it may return any one of the sub-resource object reference. We have how many sub-resources here? Can you people tell me? We have how many sub-resources here? Yes, 3. Okay. Now the method which we are going to define, it may return any one of the sub-resource reference. It may return any one of the sub-resource reference here. But how will you specify the return type in this case? What you will do? How will you specify the return type in this case? What you will do? It may return any one of that sub-resource reference. It may return UK customer service reference, US customer service reference, or Indian customer service reference. What should be the return type? Come on, you people are aware of it. Generic type. Okay, what should be the generic type here?
Interface.
Very good. That's right. You see, all these classes basically they implement that interface. All these classes, sub-resource classes, they implement that interface, right? Yes. So the return type is supposed to be interface type here. Yes, which is generic type. Yes. iCustomer service. Or what is the other option which you got here? What is the other option which you got? Think about it. Can we use object type as a return type? Can we go for object type? I can say yes. Object is also superclass of all the types in Java, right? All the classes in Java. Object class is the superclass of all the classes in Java. So you can also specify the return type as object type here. Yes. Okay. But here we'll take this interface type. because all these classes basically they are implementing this interface. I'll go with this interface type here. Okay, fine. So what's next? Um, say get customer service. I'll define this method name as get customer service. Now the thing is here, how this method, how this sub-resource locator method will figure out which sub-resource reference has to be written here. See, when the client places a request, it should be able to understand which sub-resource reference has to be written to handle that request. Whether it should return Indian service customer service reference or UK customer service reference or US customer service reference. So what should be the return type here? Yes. Yes. You know, this is where we'll make our clients to provide one parameter additionally to understand which country customer details they're requesting for. Okay. They have to provide the country code, let's say, or country name. The customers here, they have to provide the country name. Yes. So that country code or country name will take it as a path parameter here. This method will take it as a path parameter, country name. So I'll register it as a path parameter here at the rate paths param. So I'll call it as just name. Okay, you can give any name. So, and then annotate this method with path slash country name. Okay, and you can add this method designator get. Now you see this method will take that country name, country code as input, and based on that country name, it will return an appropriate customer service object reference here. It will return appropriate customer service object reference. Yes. Okay, we'll do this. Let me, sorry, if country name dot equals US, so it returns that US customer sub resource object reference. Okay, else if country name if it equals UK, it returns UK customer object reference. Else, let's say it returns Indian customer object reference. So this way, based on the country name, will return an appropriate object reference here. Okay. So this is what we'll do. Now what happens? You know what? Whenever the sub-resource locator is called, so it will take that country name. Not only country name, but you can also pass that customer ID also. Because you see, this method, it returns a sub-resource reference. Okay, that sub-resource reference, sorry, that sub-resource class has got a method which takes that path parameter. Okay, for the sub-resource class also, class method also, we need a path parameter, right? Yes. So this method should return, sorry, this method returns a sub-resource class reference. That sub-resource class method also takes a path parameter. The sub-resource class method also takes a path parameter, I can say. Yes. Okay. So we have to pass how many path parameters? Two. One for this sub-resource locator, one for the sub-resource. So that means now can you people tell me how to place a request? For suppose I want to access this UK customer service method which provides UK customer details. What you will do in this case? Yes. How will you place the request here? It's very simple. Tell me. How will you call that UK customer service method now? Through the sub-resource locator, you have to do that. Yes. Now I gave you a hint. What you will do? Slash rest slash customer service slash US or UK now. UK. UK slash you need to also pass that customer ID because that sub-resource method it takes a customer ID as input, right? You have to also pass that customer ID as input. Let's see. So I will deploy this application on the server. Let's deploy this REST services on the server. Okay, one more thing. I'm sorry. What is missing here? There is one more thing which is missing. So here I forgot to add this. Now this method it returns a customer object. Now that customer object should be transformed into which format? XML, JSON. You have to specify those details, right? Okay. In this case, I will format it into JSON format. We'll make it JSON. Okay. Yes. We'll make it JSON format. @ produces media type dot application JSON format. Now add it to all these methods because these methods are web service methods, right? So web service method should always return the data which is platform and language independent. Yes. So now I will annotate this method here with all the methods here, sub resource methods, annotate them with produces JSON data. Yes. So that customer object which you are returning will be transformed into JSON object format and it is returned to the clients because this service clients can be Java clients and non-Java clients also, right? So any application will be able to access this REST service. So always this web service methods they have to return the data which is platform and language independent. That is what we are trying to do. That's it. So let's deploy this application on the server. Okay, let me copy this URL, open this browser. Slash rest slash customer service slash the country code, let's say UK, slash the customer ID. You see, you have to pass two path parameters, one for sub resource locator, one for the sub resource class. Altogether, two path parameters here. Okay, press enter. Oops, we didn't get anything. Just a second. Customer service. What is the URL which I gave here? That sub resource locator. Customer service. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake here. What I did is the path parameter name here I gave it as name, and here I'm calling it as country name. That's the problem. Just do this name here. Also give the same name. Okay. The path parameter names are different. Okay, it is redeployed. We try to access it. Let me just remove this application once. Oh, let me give the same name here for all three names. Make sure that they are same. Customer service. Each one takes a path parameter. Use JSON data. For some reason it's not working. Let me check other URLs. Okay. Product service. This one is working. You got this product details, some data. Okay, do one thing. Yes, I got the problem here. In the web.xml file, no, product service is working, so the other one also should work. Mm, what is the problem with this? So it should work. Okay, let's do one thing. For this method, for this sub-resource locator method, remove this annotation, get annotation. Sorry, for the sub-resource locator, remove this get annotation. Okay, you remove this get annotation. Let's see. It's not showing any error also actually. Customer service slash 101. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll use REST client, advanced REST client. So I'll make use of advanced REST client once, and let me test it here with advanced REST client.
So, sorry, given customer service name is mistake. You missed the B in the customer service.
So yeah, here it is. Service. Still it's not working here. Okay. Let me just take it. Thank you. See, we are not getting any error also here. Um, Let me just try with this one. Let's pouch customer service. Get no headers. Send the request. Here also we are getting 404. There is a problem. Mm,
Don't you have to put country name inside that one? Customer service slash India or something?
Customer service slash. Oh,
The advanced search plan.
yeah, thank you. Did I miss it first time also? I'm sorry. That's right. First time I guess I did give it right. UK slash. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was missing. You have to pass that country code, right? Yeah, initially I gave it and second time I missed it. Yeah, it's working. My bad. So first there was a problem with the code, but after that I didn't notice this country code. I was not passing country code. I was telling you people to use this country code, but they didn't pass it. Yes, thank you. Now you see, you got that customer object here, a JSON object. If you can check this in the console, so which customer service is called? UK customer service is called. So let's do one thing. I'll clear the console in the server, and then this time I'll give the country name as US. Okay, US. I'll, I'll provide a different ID. Say 999. Now you got that customer details. Down, sorry, go to that Eclipse ID's console. You'll find that US customer service is called. Okay, this way you'll be able to call the appropriate sub resource here with the help of sub resource locator, I can say. So what we did here, so is it clear for you people, all of you? Yes, is it clear? Okay, good. So if anyone got any questions, let me know. Okay, good. So this way, you see, we can work with sub resources. So what is the purpose of using the sub resources here? Why did we use sub resources? What is the application of sub resources here? What you understood? What we have achieved? Why did we use the sub resources here? Yes.
We reduce that repetitive code to write in every, I mean, the common code basically for each country. Otherwise, we could directly. Yeah.
I guess we didn't reduce the common code here, but we did achieve another thing. What is it? A common URL. Yes, for multiple requests. We got a common URL. Yeah, still we have this multiple resource REST services, definitely. But we have a common URL. You got it? We have a common URL for all the services here. You got it? Common URL for all the services. That is what we have achieved here. Okay, great. So you see, now we are not annotating this method with any HTTP method designator. So the client will place a request using a particular HTTP method, right? Now this sub-resource locator will simply return that sub-resource object reference. Now the framework will look for the appropriate method here. Okay, the method which is annotated with get, which takes one path parameter. Accordingly, it will locate the method and it will call it. Okay, yes, that is how it works. Fine. So this is about sub-resources and sub-resource locators. So the last thing which I would like to show you people here is security. The time won't be enough. I don't want it to be half completed. So it will take at least 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. I guess not less than 1 hour 15 minutes. So I'll explain it in the next session. Okay, 1 hour 15 to 20 minutes is needed. And I'm planning a session for this weekend on Saturday morning. Tomorrow we'll have a class at our regular time. On Saturday morning, I want to conduct a class at 7:30 a.m. CST. That means it is Indian time 7 p.m. Saturday evening at the rate 7 p.m. You got it, all of you?
I think it is IST, right? The answer.
Sorry, IST, thank you. Indian time is 7 p.m. US timing is CST. 7:30 a.m. CST, Indian time 7 p.m. IST. Thank you. Yeah, it will be web development class. That's right, exactly. Okay, it will be web development class. Tomorrow we'll be done with this REST services. RESTful services. And on Saturday morning we'll have this class. And from Monday, especially on start Spring framework, we'll have SOS. Please, mic going along. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So we'll start with Spring, and we have SOAP-based services. I'll talk about it later on. Okay. Yes. Fine. So that's all for today. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow at our regular time, Friday evening at our regular time, and Saturday morning this will be the special class. Okay, that's it. Thank you all. Bye bye.